It's another work day for the McManus family. Unfortunately, I have health issues where it causes me to not be able to lift anything over 5 pounds for the foreseeable future, which is very frustrating because really, if anybody knows, a gallon of milk is more than 5 pounds. So how frustrating is that? But anyway, I'm here for moral support. The Lord has provided some dry hardwood stuff for kindling and for burning, so we're very happy about that and blessed. It's a lot of work, but it's worth every bit of it. So, and Molly here has come to be our protector. We're getting some stuff done. Kids are getting some exercise. They have lots of energy. This will wear them some energy out, and then probably tonight we'll play a game with them, have some snacks. We've been playing Monopoly with them some, just using it also as a kind of teaching them about money and that sort of thing, getting them to do their own math and that sort of thing. So anyway, it wears their energy out, and it keeps our house warm. We have several kids, but these are the only two that's left living here. They're the youngest, so they're helping Dad. So anyway, we're very blessed to be able to do this because wood is getting very expensive to buy, and we understand it's a lot of work, but anyway, I've been doing some thinking. I haven't done very much. Oops, I'm going out of focus. Haven't done very many devotions yet. I kind of avoiding showing myself talking because I have dental work being done, and it's not exactly pretty, I guess you could say. But anyway, I've been thinking about quite some time ago. I was reading the Bible, and I was reading in the story of Lazarus when he got sick and how he died and stuff. And we hear a lot of I'll show you where we're at right now. We hear a lot in the story about Mary and Martha on that situation, how Mary or Martha responded with kind of an attitude to God when she said, had you been here, 4 days ago, had you been here, my brother wouldn't have died, and whatever. I don't have my Bible with me, so I can't quote things, and I'm not even going to try, but we all pretty much know the story. And then Mary, who was more known to sit at Jesus's feet and listen to his teachings, and usually making Martha mad because Martha would be feeling like she was left to do all the work. But anyway, we hear a lot about their end of the story, and then about the disciples that were with Jesus when Jesus said that, this is not unto death, and they misunderstood that Lazarus was just sick and sleeping, because they said, well, if he sleeps, like I said, I'm not quoting, if he sleeps, that's good, because it's good for people when they're sick to sleep and be healing themselves and stuff or whatever. But then it came to a point that I was reading, and the thought crossed my mind, well, I know it was God because my brain don't work this way. So I got thinking, what about Lazarus? Lazarus and Jesus were very close friends. Jesus was very close with all of them. We know just by reading the different things there that Jesus visited them and ate with them different times. And when Mary and Martha called for Jesus because Lazarus was sick, they said, Lazarus, who you love, is sick unto death or whatever. Anyway, I get thinking about it. Lazarus, if he was close to Jesus, he would have known that Jesus was able to heal the sick, and he would have probably known about most of his miracles and how, he told people that he was God. If you've seen the Father, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father, and that sort of thing. Like, he would have known what Jesus was capable of doing. And so here he is dying, very, very sick and dying, and knows probably that Mary and Martha called for Jesus. And because they probably told him, like, we've called for Jesus, he's going to come and he'll touch you and heal you. And I'm sure that, the conversations that most families would have in a situation like that. And I get thinking, sometimes we feel like the time for situations is almost up. Like, we have bills due, or somebody's very, very sick, or I'm sure that Lazarus was wondering as each day and each hour towards the end was going by. I'm sure he was wondering, where's Jesus? How come he's not coming? I mean, he's supposed to be one of my best friends, and he knows I'm sick. Why isn't he coming? Why isn't he coming to touch me, to heal me? So I'm sure, from his point of view, and I'm going to pause right here because my hubby's coming to tell me something. Okay, I'm back. But anyway, I was just thinking, like, they're walking to see if they can find some more fallen trees. But really, I'm sure that lots of things that went through Lazarus's mind would be similar to what would go through our mind. The end of the date of a bill, or somebody's laying dying, or I don't know, there's so many different situations, like maybe a marriage is having problems, but I'm sure that just like today in our situations, not ours personally, but like today's situations, that Lazarus was probably wondering, like, where's Jesus? Why isn't he coming? He's supposed to be one of my best friends. Lazarus's point of view on this. I'm sure the sisters were also panicked and wondering and worried and watching their brother die. But my thoughts is more so on Lazarus's point of view. Wonder what was really going through his mind. I mean, we can understand that probably, like I said, where he's wondering where Jesus is and stuff, but he's laying dying and gets to the point where he probably knows he's about to take his last few breaths. And you got to wonder, did he lose faith? Did he keep the faith and think, well, if this is the will of God? You just got to wonder, because we're all human, and I wonder what would go through my mind if I was in that same situation. But God's ways are higher than our ways, and his thoughts are higher than our thoughts. And when he does things, he does it so that he gets the glory. He works out situations that we think that maybe didn't quite go the way we thought it should go, or sometimes we feel like God was too late, but then we find out later that there was a situation that was going to happen, or, sometimes like we get delayed in something and then find out that had we been where thought we were supposed to be at the time we were supposed to be, that we would have been caught up either sometimes in an accident or caught up in a situation that we didn't really want to have anything to do with, or, and God delayed things, and what felt like a disaster in our minds, or felt like, God forgot about us or didn't hear us or something, we find out later, that the situation, God really was in control, and he always is. And I mean, I know that part of us, for those who are serving God and believing in God and believe his word and such, we know that his ways are higher. We know that he knows best. But sometimes as humans, we look at a situation in a earthly way, in a natural way, rather than a spiritual way. And God knows that we do that. He has mercy on us. He knows that we're human. If we could learn to look in the spiritual view, it would probably save us a lot of mental stress, a lot of tears, a lot of anguish and stuff. But we are human. So, but here in the story of Lazarus, when Jesus does show up and he tells his disciples, yes, Lazarus is dead, but he does the rest of that story, if you've read it, he works things out so that there is zero doubt that God is in control. Zero doubt that it was him that took care of things. There's no way that anybody could say that Lazarus raised himself. But when he gets there, he talks to Mary and Martha and all that, and then he tells them to roll the stone away. And of course, Mary and Martha are thinking, like, Lazarus has been in there 4 days. His body is going to be decaying, and there's going to be a stench that's just beyond belief. And, why bother, kind of thing and stuff, like, and Jesus just speaks to them, and then another thought crossed my mind. I guess I do a lot of thinking, but when Lazarus, that particular Lazarus, is not the only Lazarus that would have died and gone to heaven by that point in time. I can't see that he was the only Lazarus in the whole of that area in Bible times. So, but because God is God, and he spoke and said, Lazarus, come forth. Of course, none of us that are here on earth has been to heaven, so we don't know exactly how and what the situation was going on with Lazarus in heaven. But kind of neat that the right Lazarus knew, like, I don't know, that's just a weird thought, but anyway. But when he spoke, Lazarus, come forth, he came forth, but still bound. Figure that one. That's another he was still bound up in his grave clothes. How did he come up? How did he come forth? Only God. And of course, only God can raise the dead. So he came forth, and Jesus told them to remove his grave clothes, lest he die again. Over his mouth and over his body and everything. But even though I'm sure when Lazarus was dying, the thought probably crossed his mind that it's too late, I'm gone, I'm leaving this world. And I'm sure Mary and Martha thought that too. But because God is God, and like I said, he knows what he's doing, he's in control, he allowed Lazarus to die so that the people there could see the glory of God, the power of God. He just spoke the words, Lazarus, come forth. and the right Lazarus came forth, and came forth still bound in grave clothes, and then lived, for quite some time after that. I'm not sure if we know exactly. My husband's more Bible knowledge than I have, but what a thought. He was 4 days, and I know there's songs out there saying, 4 days too late, or just still on time. 4 days late, but still on time, or something like that. It's a really pretty song, but it's the truth. Jesus and the disciples came to Lazarus' house 4 days after he was buried, and yet he rose Lazarus from the dead. What a testimony, what an example, what a miracle. So if you feel like the Lord's forgotten you, or things are getting too late, or something like that. Anyway, I had to pause again, talk to the people. But anyway, just wanted to let you know that, just encouraging, if it feels like the Lord's running late, he'll be right on time. So be encouraged today. Love you. God bless.